I've had a lot of opportunity to travel. This past weekend I went to Benchi and I've gone to Hong Kong, I've gone to Dalian, I've gone to many places, and that's one of the best experiences about being in China for me.
We've gone to some places. I'm actually going on vacation a couple weeks down south, but no, we've been out to Harbin when it was cold, a cold that you will never experience no matter where you're from. Also done Dalian, which is a nice little coastal city.
I've had several opportunities to travel. I've been to the Philippines for Chinese New Year's, I've been to Singapore, to Hong Kong, and I've also just traveled around China to Beijing and to Harbin and Dalian, and more recently to Benchi and to Qinhuangdao.
I was in Dalian. That was fun. I went to South Korea, which was amazing. Jeju City. Shout out to Jeju City for showing me love. And in Korea was amazing. Surprisingly similar to Los Angeles. And I plan to go to Hong Kong in October, but no, not sure yet. And then for Spring Festival, it'll be a big trip to another continent, so I'm excited about that.
Turkey. I've also been to Turkey. So outside of China, I've had the opportunity to travel places. It was nice to go to Turkey before it all kind of went south, but it's interesting. You need to go to other countries and see how they're doing and see how it is, a couple months after you leave, because things change so drastically around the world.
Yeah, I've gotten to travel a lot. In China, I've traveled to Shanghai and Beijing, and also up north to Harbin to see the ice palaces, or I don't know what they're called, ice castles. Outside of China, I've traveled to India so far, yeah.
Well, I think I've learned to, before I would call myself culturally sensitive, but now I think that culture, language, those things, I see how much they intertwine and I see how much they shape people's personalities. And I think that now more than ever, I'm very cognizant and aware of how people's culture impacts just their daily interactions with people. So I think that that's the biggest growth point is growing in that regard. And then, being able to manage a classroom of 4-year-olds is a challenge, and especially when you don't speak their language. And I think that kind of patience that you learn from just, managing 12 or 10, 12, 4-year-olds is invaluable, and it's also good practice for parenting.
I'm much better at managing conflict and understanding that it's not a wholeheartedly terrible thing. It's actually necessary at times, but not even conflict so much as anger and whatnot, so much as just solving problems and just critical thinking in general. So you have to do a lot of that in China.
I think I've grown more confident here, actually, especially with kids. I think I've always enjoyed playing with kids and experiencing how they see the world, but I think actually learning how to be a disciplinarian and how to really push a class forward, I really learned how to do that here.
If I hadn't come to Shenyang, I feel like my life would have been a lot more boring, and I'm just having a great time here, experiencing so much new culture, meeting new people every day.
I would be in Nebraska. I would probably be looking at graduate schools and not having another experience of a lifetime. So it would be wouldn't be the same.
I just know my life wouldn't be as exciting as it is here. My life back home would still be fun. I'd have my family and friends around me, which would be great. But living in China has just been an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. It's just been a learning experience, just in so many ways just life-changing, and it's just much more exciting and meaningful than it would be back home.
It would be boring, and it would not be like it is here. So I'm excited I came.
Chances are I would probably be working in a warehouse, lifting boxes, some odd hours a day, maybe get fed up eventually and substitute teach for another 2 years before I figured out my life. But I feel like coming here kind of gave me a bit more direction of what I want to do and don't want to do. So
doing?
My life would have not changed had I not come here.
If I hadn't come to Shenyang, I would probably still be living with my parents, working a job, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And that was one of my big motivations for coming here, was that I wanted to get out on my own and get some experience before I went back to grad school or had a more long-term job.
I think that it would be, I would be somewhat happy. I think that I wouldn't be learning Chinese for sure. I wouldn't have met some of the awesome foreigners that I met, the awesome teachers that I met. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to save the kind of money that I'm saving. I wouldn't be able to, you know, to grow intellectually and culturally in the way that I'm growing. So, I mean, I'm not saying life would be bad, but life would not be as rich as it is now.
I'm completely happy with what happened. There's a risk coming here because you never know exactly what people are going to be like or what your job's really going to expect from you. But right now, just over 2 months in, I have no